there, planet Earth, and happy Friday. The Northeast is still trying to figure out if the current season is fall, winter, or spring, judging by the frost on my lawn this morning. One thing is certain, though, it's Friday, and it's always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. ICYMI, or in case you missed it, SMB stands for Small and Medium Sized Business. For the last 20 years, I've been a consultant for SMBs, a voice and a sounding board for business leaders, advocating on their behalf, their employees too. I believe very strongly, everyone, in sharing stories, providing perspective, and creating connection. So on Fridays, you can find me here on TalkRadio.NYC doing just that, lending what's left of my mind and my voice to this radio show, where I interview business leaders as well as the folks who steer them in the right direction, their trusted advisors. One thing that I've noticed consistently over the years, some of the best thought leadership for the business world, especially small, medium-sized businesses, it actually happens on Friday. Just about that time we feel the freedom of the weekend coming. However, we're also anxious to start the weekend. We push these ideas aside, the crucial pearls of wisdom, they're overlooked, they're forgotten, in favor of our fun activities and our freedom from work over the weekend. Here on the show, we take advantage of that weekend freedom and clarity, and we like to discuss some popular topics that are on the minds of business leaders. Once again, the name of the show, not just a play on words. My last name means free in German, so there is a little bit of deeper thought here. It's not just surface level jokes, even though we do like surface level jokes. Last weekend, folks, very big for me. The Marlboro Softball League is in full effect, so I have one of my major outlets for being a suburban dad ready to go. Thank you, Dr. Ballar and Princeton Brain, Spine, and Sports Medicine. Looking forward to having you on the show one of these days, but mostly thank you for the awesome uniform. First time I've had my own real uniform with buttons. I can look legit, doesn't mean I know how to play ball worth a damn. You guys come out to the field, you'll see that firsthand. We got a new podcast going on for the league, Hit the Cut. Not a bad name, actually respect it. A lot of folks trying to get into the podcast scene within the league, so I definitely dig that. Last Saturday was also National Cannabis Day, April 20th, 420 as it's known. I wanted to say just a quick thank you to my buddy and two-time guest on the show, Jim Getz, for including me in the happy hour that he had at Functionized, the Fit Lab to be specific. Functionized is now carrying this product called Nowadays, which might look like a bottle of tequila. However, there is zero alcohol content and plenty of party in the bottle. It is being touted as the future of drinking. I guess we'll see what happens with that. More to come. You know, when I think about how many laughs were had last weekend between the softball opening day and National Cannabis Day, if you will, I thought today would really be a great time to chat about the world of comedy with somebody who can give us a firsthand type of perspective. And we have definitely that person with us today. It's a returning champion to the show. I'll introduce him in just a moment. But the topic of the day is stand up for sanity. Whether you're stressed about money, raising kids, divorce, politics, work, or anything else that can make us lose our minds, we all have things weighing on us, right? Fortunately, humor can be a defense and a coping mechanism. Believe it or not, it's actually healthy psychologically for your brain. It's a healthy way to process trauma, release tension, relieve pain and frustration. You've all heard that laughter is the best medicine. Well, stand-up comedy is an art form that blends the profound truth of human experience with brutal honesty, vulnerability, and obviously a couple jokes here and there. While not everyone is destined to take the stage, there are many lessons to learn from the art form. Comedy's been around just as long as tragedy, yet many people flock to the drama in their lives. Personally, I'd rather laugh, whether it's with the sinners or the saints, so to speak. It just feels like a better way to go. But talk is cheap. We're on TalkRadio.NYC. We don't want this to just be talk. The goal here is let's use the insight on the business landscape and create some more impact on Monday morning. That's what we're about. It's far too often the folks I speak with from the business world, entrepreneurs, they're focused on some type of product that's going to solve all their problems. A shiny new mousetrap, a new app, a magic wand. Consistently, products change every single day, and everything that we do, whether you're talking personal or business, you got to have the right people around you first. You focus on a good process of execution, the products will be there when you need them. You gotta have these right people. I know I have the right people around me today. How many stand-up comics do I actually know? Well, actually, some people might know a lot of stand-up comics. We're gonna hear about that from our guest today. But our special guest, returning champion, John Moses. comedian and founder of High Point Home Inspection. John, no pun intended, with 420 last weekend. But John Moses has been delightfully offending audiences throughout the US, Canada, and UK for more than 15 years. He's been a finalist at the Laughing Skull Comedy Festival in Atlanta and is a favorite at festivals all over, including the Boston Comedy Festival, the Asheville Comedy Festival, Cottage Country Comedy Festival, and the Dark Comedy Festival in Toronto, where he roasted porn legend Ron Jeremy. How many people can you say have done that? John released his debut album On the Edge with Uproar Entertainment in 2012. It was voted one of Laugh Spin's 10 best comedy albums of 2012, and given their dubious distinction as one album from 2012 you should get by a comedian you've probably never heard of. An equal opportunity offender, John's comedy transcends racial and cultural barriers, appealing to black, white, and brown audiences, the young and old, upstanding citizens, and the morally bankrupt. John's style is shrewd, raw, and uncompromisingly funny. He discusses dating big chicks, single moms, and how to do it when you're absolutely broke. His comedy can double as a how-to or self-help hour if you've ever found yourself in his shoes or think you may find yourself in similar ones. As an experienced, knowledgeable professional, Mr. Moses is a fully licensed and insured home inspector in the state of New Jersey and a member of the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. Jonathan has served as a licensed realtor and purchased and rehabilitated and sold more than 20 properties as an investor. In his rehab work, he's encountered many types of structural and systematic problems, discovered solutions for them all. Servicing Monmouth, Middlesex, and Ocean counties, let John and High Point put years of experience and knowledge to work for you and ensure the safety of your space. Back to the fun stuff. John is on the edge, and the edge is right between evil genius and uncontrollable laughter. You better have thick skin and a dark side for sure if you're going to enjoy this incredible comedian. His very adult but very funny humor will have you making resolutions to tell your friends about him. He's funny as hell, he's Canadian, and he even knows how to inspect houses. What more do you want, people? We're gonna discuss. I've already done my favorite questions with John in the past, so I asked him a couple of other ones. We'll get to that later in the show. Joining us this morning before his next scheduled appearance, which is actually this evening at the Red Bank Elks Club, not too far from my house, and I'm looking forward to that. John, welcome back to the show, brother. Appreciate you fitting us into the schedule before the laughs tonight.
Yeah. You always trick me into this stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome.
First of all,
you lose a bet here and there, and I got to get grief for it.
First of all, let me just say, I'm impressed at how prompt you are, given how high you perpetually are.
Well, when it comes to my show, it's pretty much the only thing I'm on time for. But
those two things just usually don't go hand in hand. You're 15 minutes before the show, like, you ready, buddy? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Stop rushing me, damn you.
I had a late night last night, but also I'm used to doing podcasts with comedians, and they're like, yeah, we'll start at 11. It's like 11:27. This thing hasn't started yet,
That's the difference when you do a live show versus a day when you have everybody out to record something. But
well, there you go.
But dude, it's been a little while since we've chatted on the air, and I know you've had a crazy amount of travel since then, especially on the comedy circuit. Everyone loves to hear the fucking hero's journey, man. Like, everyone wants to hear from you. It's not just about being the founder of the High Point Home Inspections. We want to hear more about where you've been with the comedy at this point. So talk a little bit more about just how you got where you are today before we dive into it.
Oh, God, today.
Well, starting with last night, I guess, is a good retracing of the steps, right?
Well, that's it, yeah. It was a late night for sure for me. Like I got in at 2:45. Yeah, so I did that. I got a monthly show in Brooklyn that I host. Me and my buddy started a small comedy records company. Mostly to promote or produce our own albums, but also to produce like buddies and other comics that we like and think are funny. In part because those comedy albums that you talked about at the beginning of the opening, the first two, I made somebody else $250,000. So it's like, maybe it's time to scratch a little of that back. Anyway.
Why?
Yeah. But also like we want to do like that was a part and parcel of like when we did the Red Bank Comedy Festival last year. Like we really want to like curate and create cool comedy events and parties and have a good time with comics and sort of celebrate comics and celebrate comedy. So that's what we're doing. And we're trying to do like a party vibe there once a month at at the Williamsburg Comedy Club, the comedy club formerly known as Brooklyn Comedy Club.
Yep.
And so and so far so good, man. Like the shows have been, pretty packed, and even the guy who like runs the club there, the booker, he was like, dude, I don't know what it is. He goes, but these 10 o'clock shows on a Thursdays have been fucking jammed. And I'm like, I don't know either, dude. I don't know, but it's working. So let's just go with it.
I don't know. You might be talented or something.
But that has so little to do with success in this business.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But we're having a good time doing it. And I'm running the show ragged. And normally a good comedy show is a 90-minute show, right? And especially if you've got like host, feature, headliner's doing 45 minutes to an hour. If headliner's doing more than an hour, it's for his own ego. You know what I mean? Like no audience really is into it that much. Like they get tapped out.
Yep.
So the 90-minute mark, especially with everybody's attention span these days, it's like it's plenty. It's plenty of show. So anyway, we were well over 2 hours last night.
Whoops.
And that's just because I'm putting people up. Like I'm just like, oh, you're here? Come on, man, let's go. And I was just like really trying to keep the vibe going and
get up there, make with the ha-ha.
Yeah, but that's your job as the host, right? It's to like make sure that the crowd is still engaged. Like you're pushing the show forward. You're driving the train. You're fucking responsible for the good time, which is you don't normally think that because the host in comedy is usually the person like on those, 3 people shows, especially when you're on the road, the host is the person with the least amount of experience. But in New York, the host can be doing comedy for 20 years. It's New York,
Yep.
So we're just trying to have a good time over there, and that we did. But I got home at 3 a.m. and then at 3 a.m., listen, that was nothing before. 3 a.m. was nothing. Now, dude, I feel it.
Now we're in our 40s, and this sucks.
Yes. And not only did I get home at 3 a.m., but I realized I hadn't worked out yet, so I did yoga. I mean, just really bringing out the day of every last bit of anything that I can
without looking at any calendars or notes. How long ago would you say it was that I interviewed you last?
Probably a year.
It was about a year and a half ago.
Year and a half? Oh, okay. There you go.
And I was actually like, I thought it was about a year ago. I was like, shit, I guess it was a little longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, this has always been a huge passion of yours. You're funny as hell. You did the Red Bank Comedy Festival last year. You're going to be in Red Bank, New Jersey later tonight. I'm excited for it. It seems like you've been on the road doing a lot of comedy shows, and I'm thrilled for you, man. This is like, it's so much fun to watch you doing this.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I guess I've been on the road a bit. It's still not up to the point where it once was, but I don't know that it's tough to navigate that now. Like before it was, I had a fiance, and it was like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 6 days, come back, see you for 2, and then go back, and then leave for 5.
Yep.
Now that fiance is an ex-wife, and and we've got a custody schedule, so I gotta move.
I know you're a girl dad like me, so shout out to Mary, right? Mary's your daughter.
Yes.
Shout out to Mary real quick. I know you're a hell of a dad. Your pictures are awesome, both from the comedy club and with Mary.
Thanks, man.
We got to take a quick break before we dive into this, but
okay,
I'm
cool.
so excited to get into some of what's been going on with you and to give you some.
Oh, I got to tell you guys about Patterson, New Jersey. All right, there we go.
Oh, dude, save that. We'll be right back. We're going to be right back with John Moses. He's a comedian. He's also the founder of High Point Home Inspection. Stay with us, people.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.NYC at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday. It's always Friday. It's me.
Your commercial, you're plugging, you're like, hello, this is Stephen Fry. It's like very NPR. It's very NPR voice. They're like, come in and cut a commercial. And you were like, oh, and then you talk to you, you're like, yes, I'm smoking this weed.
Not on the air. Well,
Right.
sometimes on the air.
Well,
But we're back with John Moses. He's a stand-up comedian. He's founder of High Point Home Inspection. Speaking of smoking weed, but yeah, no, he's although he's Canadian, he stopped drinking, he stopped smoking years ago, didn't you?
yes, I did, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, it's funny. I was at the bar last night and I was getting somebody else a drink, and it was, I don't know, some tequila, which by the way, I swore off tequila. You know, when I was in Mexico when I was 20, I was so close to getting a tattoo in the bar.
In the bar.
Yeah, in the bar. So anyway, I was handing somebody else the drink last night, and I would like just in conversation, like it was mine, and I looked at it like, oh, close call.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to give everybody a quick perspective. You know, we talked a year and a half ago, and we were definitely talking more about High Point Home Inspection and a little bit of comedy.
Okay,
I want to flip that and talk more about comedy, maybe a little bit of High Point today.
Yeah.
But
My point's
just
still going.
I like to sit out by the fire pit and give a quick commentary on what we're doing. There's whenever the world feels too insane for words to me, which is 98% of the time, there are two places that I tend to find answers, and they both involve comic relief. The first one is The Simpsons. Now, Simpsons has been on for 35 years. I started out completely identifying with Bart. Now I identify more with Homer. I love your cartoon, by the way. I don't know if I told you that. This is totally you. This is totally
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
But I started out obviously relating more to Bart. Now it's more on the Homer side of things. Yeah, but in any time the normal throes of life, I'm like, I can't believe this is real life. Like, what the hell's going on with this world? Somehow I look at The Simpsons, 35 years worth of it, and it provides me with a smile and somehow a sane viewpoint on many things. I'm not really sure how that's possible, but it is. It happens. Like, you know, some people think that The Simpsons tells the future and everything, which I've definitely seen some evidence from in 35 years watching all the episodes. But aside from all that fortune telling, you know, crystal ball stuff, yeah, it's a lot of times it provides some clarity in a very unclear world. And then the second place,
and it's still funny, you know. My kid just started getting into it. So we're like, what is that on Disney Plus? And it's she's at that sweet age where like the shows and movies she's starting to watch don't suck, you know. Because I've seen every kids movie that has been made since, you know, she was born in 2015. Without a miss, all of the garbage ones too. And there's great ones, you know, like Pixar. These guys write for adults now, so there's great ones.
Thank God.
But I have seen every garbagey movie. So like when she just transitioned into PG-13, you know, and her mom broke the seal, I was like, you just let her watch Hunger Games? I was gonna let her watch Hunger Games. And then but she broke that seal. I was like, yo, here we go. We just watched The Quiet Place 1 and 2. She's like having night terrors. But she's like into The Simpsons now and stuff like that. So, you know, we get to binge The Simpsons together, which is awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. My younger one, not the older one, my younger one is turning 9 this summer, and she has every word to the Simpsons movie memorized somehow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's getting serious fast.
You're like somehow it's because you're not paying attention to her.
It's not because I binge it for the last 35 years. It's because
That's
Disney
right,
Plus
that's
has
right.
all the damn episodes on. No, but
right.
the other place that I turn to for clarity and sanity
Is
is
the
one and
Ukraine.
only George Carlin.
You had your face on Carlin's head there. You just look like a Ukrainian refugee.
That is my face on George Carlin's face and body. So
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, I started listening to George Carlin's comedy when I was 11 years old at sleepaway camp, and now I have a 12-year-old of my own. And it's like, if I'm listening to George Carlin's routines on YouTube or whatever, I don't turn it off if the kids come in the room now. I'm like, this is when I started listening to it. You're going to hear this.
Did you see the George Carlin AI special?
No.
Oh my God.
Sounds extremely worthwhile, though.
So somebody took all of George Carlin's comedy, all of George Carlin's like public speaking. I mean, there wasn't podcasts back then, but just all of George Carlin's content, ran it through AI, and generated a 1-hour special.
Wow. And it was awesome?
It was very good.
I believe
it was better than most stand-up comic or stand-up comedy that you see. I was like, oh, it was frighteningly good. You were like, oh my God, if this is what AI can do now, forget 30 years from now. Like I thought stand-up comedy was one job that was safe. No.
Yeah, I thought so too. But you're making me feel like the whole human race is going to be a Skynet takeover.
Dude, it was scary good. You have to go watch it.
All right. Well, that's definitely what I'll be doing later this evening after I watch your show.
Right.
But
it's better than my show.
wait, I'm not even going to your show. You want me to watch George Carlin?
Yeah, just watch George Carlin AI.
Save me a trip to Red Bank. But George Carlin's been gone for 16 years, and he was doing stand-up since the early 60s. And it's sick, but most of his bits are still extremely relevant today. Almost all of them.
Most of his like the second half of his career is relevant. The first half, hippy dippy weather guy ain't too relevant.
Actually, some of it that is definitely still relevant, but he would probably even agree with you if he was still around to defend himself. But he tells it like it is in a way we could all understand, and he's a master wordsmith. I'm a big proponent of it's not what you say, it's more how you say it.
Man, I'll think of something, I'll think of a bit or an idea, and like half the time it's either Carlin, Chris Rock, or like Louis C.K. has got it covered. You asked me the question, you said who was the last, or who's the last time you sat in the audience? I don't really sit in the audience that much. I got like free tickets to see Dice at Beacon. It was Dice was all right. He was okay. Fucking Jim Norton opened up for him.
It was hysterical.
Norton was great that night. He was great that night. And after 20 minutes of Norton being great, the Dice crowd ran him off the stage. They were like, Dice! And then Dice went up there and did like it's like, I've been working on some new material. And he's like, then he starts talking about text messages. Like, dude, like new material. Text messages was relevant in 2003.
Even though IMDb doesn't have a great rating for it, the Adventures of Ford Fairlane is still up there on one of my favorite movies. I mean, if you're into it, you just got to watch something like that. But
his career and his impact on culture and even comedy is incredible.
Incredible.
But I bought tickets to see Carlin years ago, and I was young, and 16. Okay, so he died 16 years ago. I've been sober for 17 years. So this was close to the end. Yeah. And I didn't realize it. So anyway, I get tickets to see Carlin, and I blacked out before he hit the stage. So I saw him.
Damn it.
I don't remember any of it.
Whoops. Well, swing and a miss there. But one thing that really stands out with me is that you think of how many people looked at George Carlin like he was insane. Right? Like, think about how many years, how many different groups of people and activist groups around the country, depending on, who he was razzing on at what time. Sure. He was like, yeah, this guy's nuts. And he's probably the most sane one of all. Given any sort of insanity in this life that I look at, I'm just like, I can't believe this is my generation. This is my existence. I can look at The Simpsons, or I can look at George Carlin's material and feel like, all right, yeah, fine, this is guiding me in the right.
Right. And feel a little grounded, a little rooted. Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, dude, but this is the method part of my show. Now that we're almost at the end of this segment, so I like just methodology, the science behind what people do. There's plenty of science behind what you do as a home inspector, but
Mhm.
the whole idea of being a stand-up comic is mostly an art form. However, you doing as much work as you've been doing in the space and on the road a little bit more and now raising a child and everything, you kind of said it yourself. There's like, it's like, yeah, you had a fiance before, you were gone 6 days a week, come back for two, whatever. Now it's like, you have an ex, you have a business that you started, you have, your daughter that you have to be a daddy to. It's like, there definitely has to be some scientific element on how you're juggling all this stuff nowadays. And
Not well.
potentially
The
now you're
balls,
getting more
the
material.
balls are constantly dropping, which is why
Spinning plate.
I know you're like, dude. I woke up today and I was just like nursing coffee, and I'm like, hey man, are we doing this? And you're like, yeah, let's jump on a call. I ran upstairs and took a nice cold shower just to wake up, and then I came down. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So,
That does sound like something I would do, actually.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's funny because yesterday was a day where it was a good pace. Oh, also I'm like, squeak in running a half marathon here and there. Um, I don't spend any time hungover, so that helps. Um, but like yesterday was a good pace. What was I doing? During the day, like, writing some comedy stuff, sort of going over my set, and then I'm like doing some like blasting out some like business emails, some high point stuff. And then I ran into an inspection at Tom's River area, Whiting or something, crawling under a house in a Tyvek suit. And then I get out, rip the suit off, jump in the car, whip up the pike. It's like pushing 6:30. Stop, pick up some prescription, get like a little dip cream, get a little dick cream from CVS. Get ready for the weekend. Um, go home, shower,
The Red Sea, and
jump in the car, drive to Brooklyn, literally park the car, jump on stage, close out the first show. We walk outside. The showrunner comes out and he's like, "Hey, John, you got a lineup for the next show?" I'm like, "A fucking lineup? I forgot,
Sure, right on top of that, Rose.
Yeah, comics are texting me. They're like, "Hey, man, when am I going on the show?" I go, "I don't know, man. Just fucking show up. You're on the show. Start the show. I get off, run the show. I get off. It's 12:30 at night. I haven't eaten dinner. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm like, oh,
Well, at least there's some likelihood something's open.
I mean, always, right? But that's the beauty. And so we go down the street and like, yeah, have the best pizza or very good pizza. And then I'm back in the car and I'm pulling in at 2:45. And it's like it was an extremely busy day. And that was a day where I didn't have my kids. So that's like the one ball that I didn't have to keep in the air. But it was like, but I love that pace. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm exhausted, but I'm so happy, what
And
I mean?
energized, probably. Like
I was energized when I walked in the door.
Energy.
At 2:45, I was like, and don't get me wrong, there are other days, where 2:45, I've spent the last 15 minutes of that, fighting off sleep, trying not to crash the car, But I mean, like the pace of yesterday was great, and that's what I signed up for. You know what I mean? So
You didn't necessarily sign up for the home buying market these days and lack of inventory and people waiving home inspections and things like that. But you definitely signed up for that lifestyle, being a stand-up comic.
There's less waiving of the home inspections, and there's more like height of COVID, people were waiving home inspections, which was foolish. Just you saw the nightmare stories. Guys
Sure
buying
did.
guys buying stuff and then they flush the toilet and the wall cries. Now it's more like, hey, we're going to do an inspection, and they'll say it's only going to be structural, mechanical, environmental, which is really the big ticket stuff anyway, or it's for information purposes only. And that way you just like, hey, okay, A, you've always got a chance to renegotiate, but B, at least you can get, what's wrong with the place and you can make an educated decision. You know what I mean? And maybe that educated decision is to not buy the place. But so there's less of that, and spring is here. Things have opened up a little, so we'll see.
Allegedly, yeah.
I'm optimistic.
Allegedly, spring is here. We got to take a quick break.
Yeah.
We will be
All
right back with
We'll
funny
get-
man
we'll-
himself, stand-up comic, John Moses, also the founder of High Point Home Inspections. Hey, you need your house or your commercial property checked out? He's the man, and he might even be able to make you laugh while he's checking it out. Stay with us, people. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.NYC, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.NYC.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on TalkRadio.NYC, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with John Moses. He's a stand-up comedian. He's also a licensed certified home inspector. Isn't that double threat type of guy? He might even be a triple or quadruple threat guy, but he is a stand-up comedian. He does have a show this evening in Red Bank at the Elks Club. Today, April 26th, 8 p.m. on West Front Street in Red Bank. Be there. I'll be there. If he doesn't make you laugh, I will at some point, hopefully. But yeah, I might be good in lubricated.
Could you imagine?
Johnny, so
Could you imagine how bad the night must be if I don't make you laugh and they're relying on you to get their money's worth? Ooh.
Seriously, dude, it's like
There's two other comics that you got a shot at if I can't pull it off.
Yeah, you guys will probably laugh. I'm not gonna lie. You should show up. And
Yeah, you'll be all right.
drinks at the Elks Club are cheap, by the way. The Elks Club knows how to do it right if you're trying to get lubricated beforehand. So.
Yeah, drinks are cheap and so are tickets, man. Like a $20 ticket these days, that's like $11 adjusted for inflation.
Dude, I just finished doing some work on my house, and every time I left my house, it cost me $2,000 somehow. So $20, come hang out with John Moses and his crew, Kevin Israel, what's his name, Ken Krantz, all these guys.
Yep. Yeah,
it's gonna be a blast.
We're too heavy tonight.
So, Johnny, this is the madness part of the show, and it's made for you, right? The madness part of the show are the stories you have from the field, the artistic observational view, which is pretty much everything that you do at this point. But since the last time that we talked, there was plenty of madness in the real estate world, and there's always madness in the comedy world. And you've been on the road a bunch. You've had recurring shows on a monthly basis. You're doing a bunch of stuff locally. We got to hear about some of the madness going on in your world. So, give us a couple stories you have from the field, bro.
Ah, man. I mean, you never know what you're getting into when you pull up to some of these places. Like I'm doing a gig in Pennsylvania, and you're like, God, is it going to be like some ramshackle shed, like a barn? Is it going to be in a barn, or is it? And then you show up, and it's like an incredibly nice venue. And I was doing a show in like upstate New York, and like the closer I got to the show, the more like burnt out Oldsmobiles I saw. I haven't seen an Oldsmobile in years, and then all of a sudden there's like these ditched Oldsmobiles on the side of the road. So we got there, we talked about that, and I was like, man, we should have done the show. And everybody was in camo. I was like, we should have done the show at the Tractor Supply. You could have picked up your wife's Valentine's Day gifts. Those people were so much fun. Like you never know what you're rolling into, when you get to some of these situations. Unless it's a comedy club, then you got an idea and you could, but half the time you're driving there, you're just observing and you're like, all right, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about this.
And the whole thing changes on the way there.
Yeah. Whole thing changes. Whole thing, at least the 5 minutes, and then you got to figure out how you're gonna skew things. Yeah, but yeah, the travel stuff. I'm really trying to travel more with my kid.
Yeah.
So like I'm in 2 weeks or Saturday, May 18th, I'm at the MGM in Springfield, Massachusetts. And it's my custody weekend. There we go, baby. And it's my custody weekend, so I'm bringing the kid. Which is
not that I like to promote Live Nation, now part of Ticket Bastard, but that's where you can actually get tickets for that comedy show.
Yeah. So it's not all Red Bank Elks, but my aunt lives in Massachusetts, so I'm digging her up, and she's gonna watch her while I'm on stage, and then afterwards we're gonna hit the casino. My kid loves a casino.
The Encore?
Yeah, that's right. So back when COVID stopped, first of all, she's been going to casinos with me to do shows since she was like 18 months. I would have I'd have a weekend at Mohegan or something, and we'd bring her, and I'd be pushing her in like one of these like little tight cars, like through the casino, like anywhere where you didn't have to be over 21. I'd be pushing this kid around, and so many parents would be like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" I swear to God, the next time I was at Mohegan, I saw other parents pushing their kids in the same cart.
You started a trend, baby.
I know I started that.
Trendsetter. Actually, now you make me feel better for having my firstborn at the beer garden 2 weeks after she was born. So thank you for that.
Yeah. That reminds me. After when my kid was born, I took a couple of weeks off from doing shows. It was like 10 days or something, and then I was asked to do like a television show on Access, Gotham Comedy Live, which is like a live stand-up comedy show. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. They're like, hey, do you want to do it Thursday? It was Sunday. I hadn't been on stage in 10 days. My kid was just born. I was like, oh, yeah, of course. But then I got to run out and start doing shows again. So I'm running around New York just trying to get stages, get reps in to do that taping. And I'm in the back of a green room of a comedy club. And there was some comic there. He's a real wiener. And he was there with like a beach stripper, like a blue-haired beach stripper.
Yes.
And I was like, oh man, I haven't been on stage in 10 days. And I go, and I gotta, I just had a kid and, I gotta, bone up for the show. And he goes, oh man, when my wife had a kid, I was doing comedy that night. And I go, yeah. And now you're sitting here with a stripper. Like, I'm not taking life advice.
Life goals.
But yeah, so now I'm trying to travel more with with her and like be able to do that. But of course, it's like until she's 13 and I can board her up in a hotel by herself while I'm on stage, to be like, order pizzas, have them slide the money through the door and have them drop the food, and open the door. I've already got that mapped out. But like now it's like I gotta find, sitters and shit,
So you do have a method behind your madness. I like that.
Yeah. And then I'm bringing her to a show I've got in Pennsylvania in the beginning of June, and it's Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Williamsport's kind of cool.
Is that in Pennsatucky?
I bet you it is. It's so far out there that it's like it's 3 hours from here. So yes.
Yeah, so it is in Pennsatucky. Okay.
Yeah, anything not within a 20-minute radius of Philly is Pennsatucky, right?
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
So
might as well be Canada.
Yes. So she's coming to the show, and but it's again, it's a situation where it's like, okay, what am I going to do for childcare? And the woman who's putting on the show owns like a house there that's like a woman's retreat for creatives, right? So like for funny people. So if you're working on a script, you want to go there for 2 weeks and be uninterrupted. But it's like it's a woman's retreat. So I'm coming in here dragging a kid like like
I'm here to drop off Mary.
house. But she's like, hey, she's a comic in New York, but from Williamsport, who goes back and forth. And she's like, oh, I've got a list of babysitters that you can that are trusted that you can use. So I'm like, okay, great. So I trust you to vet this babysitter to look after her in the woman's retreat house while I'm on stage for 2 hours. I'm like, don't bring my fucking kid anywhere else. I don't want your scumbag weirdo college boyfriend high on mushrooms showing up. Like, I got to make sure that this kid is going to be safe for 2 hours in a strange land,
I'm just what? How old is Mary now?
9.
So my older one's 12. My younger one will be 9 in July. And I mean, I can only imagine what comes out of her mouth being around you with this, because my kid is like, kids say the darndest things, the stuff that she's saying nowadays. The younger one more than the older one.
I know. Oh,
dude, does she throw it around like madness at this point? Is she like you?
Yeah, for sure. And the divorce really accentuated it.
I was gonna say that was my next question. So thank you for going there.
It's really added a little the twinge of darkness, So,
yes.
And also, she's 9. Me and her mom got divorced, and then both of her grandfathers died all within 1 calendar year. So, I was coaching her basketball team, and she played a hard game. And my dad was a big basketball fan, good basketball player. He's like 6'6". I mean, now it's a shooting guard, right? But back then he was like the center. So anyway, I was just telling her, I was like, hey man, I wish Grandpa was alive because he'd really be proud of the way you played today.
Yeah.
And without missing a beat, she didn't even look at me. She was just looking out the window. She goes, Ouija board, Ouija board.
I love it.
So hard. I was so proud in that moment, dude,
So I got to relay this because I'm looking around, there's we talked about last time, the idea of comedy and how it actually helps the business world. I've seen corporate events that are, improv comedy focused and getting people to really think on their feet. And I saw a couple of quick tidbits on really what the idea of doing stand-up comedy really does for somebody. And this list is funny, especially because you just talked about Mary kind of embracing the dark.
Yes.
From the divorce and everything. It said, pivot your perspective, fake it till you make it, which I always get a little leery when I hear that, but be grateful, be ready. When in doubt, call it out, which is better than when in doubt, whip it out. Process everything. But one of the ideas here was become a mistress of the dark. And I was just like, when you said that about Mary, what they said about in the commentary in this article, they said it's no secret that Elvira is mistress of the dark. There's her natural endowments, if you will. But what makes her so funny and timeless and lovable is she laughs at the darkness. She's witty. She's got puns. She basically is the empress of the dark. And
dude, I mean, listen, I was saying this for the other day. Is I do family comedy for adults from broken families. I embrace that part. If you came from a 2-parent, nuclear family with pictures of your collie on and trips to Disney World, all up on your front foyer as you enter the house, I'm probably not the comic for you.
Or you might be. You just might be on your toes for 45 minutes.
Yeah. It'll be more of a case study. You won't be
high alert, possibly a little skittish, but you want to find out? Come to the Red Bank House Club tonight at 8 p.m. $20 in hand. You got yourself a ticket to the show. So
yeah, and I just booked the host.
He's putting the show together.
People.
We got to take a quick break before we bring this thing home. We'll be right back with Mr. John Moses. He's a stand-up comedian. He is also the founder of High Point Home Inspection. Stay with us, people.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.NYC at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.NYC.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.NYC, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. It's not just me. We're with John Moses. He's a stand-up comedian. He's also the founder of High Point Home Inspections. He's a licensed home inspector, residential or commercial properties. He's your man. He could probably get you to crack a smile. He went from Brooklyn last night, getting home at 3 a.m, to Red Bank tonight, comedy night at the Elks with his buddies Kevin and Ken. 8 o'clock once again tonight at the Elks Club. $20. Be there. Is that good? Did I hype it up enough for you?
Great. Good job.
Good. The check's in the mail. Johnny, this is the message part of the show. When I started this whole game, the whole idea was from Weekend Insight to Monday Impact, and I still very much believe in that. I'm going to cut loose tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm going to have some cocktails. I'm going to be with some friends. We're going to be laughing our asses off. Chances are, whatever clarity I get on the business world or in life in general is probably not going to make it till Monday morning unless we talk about it here, because this is all recorded and it's available on podcast outlets and all of that. But I, just thinking about a couple of quick things with you, making people laugh, as much as it might look like it's insane in certain points, it actually helps them stay sane. It helps keep me sane. Like, if I'm not having fun, I'm not making money. And there's plenty about money and raising kids and working that's stressful and insane enough as it is. Just, things that unite all of us. Like George Carlin used to be about those little universal moments that we share. You ever walk into a room in your house and forget why you went in there?
Oh, come on. Actually, when we were talking about Carlin before, like, writing bits, then you think of like, you're like, oh God, it's probably like a George Carlin joke or a Chris Rock joke. George Carlin has this bit where he says, hell is filled with dads. that's such a funny line, because, like, every like woman that cries, like, my father was such a good guy. And it's like, oh no, he was.
He's in hell. Don't worry.
He was a straight scoundrel when he was out. He was out with his boys. Every waitress's worst nightmare,
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's it's a lot to balance right now. Sometimes I just who else, somebody else said it. Who was it? Bob Odenkirk, maybe? He said, like, being an adult is 85% misery. It's like, it's just,
Better Call Saul. It was an advertisement for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh God, it's like the waves rolling in of like the constant bills and laundry and meal prep and like, oh my fucking God, and trying to get this kid ready and make sure that that she's developing and feeling, safe and good and confident. And how do I try and keep her from like all of the crap that I felt as a kid? And you can't, but you try. And, it's just
especially nowadays. It's real hard to keep her from crap.
Exactly. And, how do you keep her from, not identifying as, how do you keep her from being trans until she's at least out of high school? It's just like, it's never ending. So like in that regard, for me, like I get that people come and they get to do, and it's like, and they want to be, they want to have fun and they want to be distracted and they want to forget. And, I don't think laughter is the best medicine, but hey, it's a hell of a stress relief, right? For me, being on stage in those moments is like, oh my God, it's like that. It's that for me also. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like unless the show's, going in the shitter, it's like that's really when I except moments when I'm with my kid and moments when I'm on top of a random woman that I just met on Hinge 48 hours earlier. It's those are like the times when I'm happiest. You know what I mean? It's those three things really. When I'm on stage, when I'm on top of some strange, and when I'm spending time with my daughter. Like that's
back to all dads being in hell. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's all of the in between moments where I'm like pulling my hair out.
Yeah, without a doubt. You're juggling a lot right now, man. I think about your home inspection business and all the tools and crap that you need to do that, right? And it's like, man, he's juggling the part-time, the split custody. He's juggling the home inspection business, the tools required. He's juggling running back and forth between.
Oh, dude, I was firing stuff out of my Jeep last night. I was like, ugh, like chucking the tools in the house, run upstairs, shower, get in the car, run back out the door.
Wait, and there's no drugs or alcohol involved. What the hell are you doing? There must be a lot of strains that's going on right now in order for you to keep a level head right now.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I want you guys to hear that officially. He's happy and he's a redhead, so there's proof that it does exist.
Yeah, it can happen. It takes about 40 years to figure it out, but yes.
It's hard. Like when you think about my redheaded friends, the gingers, if you will. It's you would think by the time it's 40 they have it all figured out, but you're really the only one I know that looks happy. The rest of them still look pretty angry.
Yeah, well, full head of hair and a flat tummy helps.
Yeah, not for sure. I really wouldn't know on either count, but
the
hair's hanging on by a thread. The troops are definitely retreating a little bit, but
listen, I threw that out there knowing that was gonna.
I actually, one of my buddy Johnny Tsunami, who I've interviewed 3 different times on the show, he's big into health and wellness, personal training, and all of that. And I sent him a meme this morning that shows a totally jacked Mr. Olympia guy that says buffest. Then a guy that just like working out says buff. And then there's a dude with a total dad bod and huge beer belly that says buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's me.
Hey, man, as long as you're happy. I mean, listen, for me, I don't have like I don't have like that outlet to go and smoke a little weed, have a little drink. Like for me, it's like in order to get the endorphins flowing, like I gotta work out a little. I gotta run. Listen, last year for me, like, I got divorced. My dad died,
It's a rough series of events.
The real estate market wasn't doing me any favors.
Yep.
I was running just to keep my sanity,
Do you prefer people call you at the office or call you on your cell for the home inspection business?
It's cute that you think I got an office.
I know. It is cute. I just say, in your signature, I see an office line. It's cute.
Oh, yeah, no, that's dead. Yeah, that office line went to a phone that was in my old house that I deeded to my ex. So
better to call him on his cell
phone.
413-5529. That's John Moses.
Yeah.
HighPointHomeInspections.com. HighPointHomeInspection@gmail.com is where you find him for that.
Yeah. By the way, and go check out, because I know like we're screwballing around, but like I am actually a good home inspector. I've got a bunch of 5-star Google reviews if you don't believe me. So go check that out. Don't take our foolish words for it.
But our foolish words and our foolish comedy. So, most folks who I hang with and who listen to the show, they know I like to ask my questions around movies, TV, and music, which I have asked you in the past, and we've had some fun with it. I had a couple different ones on the mind for today because it made me think a little bit too, who I wanted to throw out there. So I was thinking of stand-up comics, right? And you guys know how much I love George Carlin. I reference him all the time. So he's like the all-time favorite, legendary go-to for me. But I asked John also, I was like, who was the last one you saw live as an audience member? For me, it was Bert Kreischer. I saw him play at George Mason University, it's like 6 months ago or something already.
Yeah.
But fun storyteller, even without a shirt on, and that dad bod's definitely representative of me lately.
I did see Burt Kreischer. I saw him. I mean, I didn't pay for the ticket to go sit in the audience, but I was in the back of the room and I was watching him probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Man, the story of the machine is just so funny and so fun.
Yeah, it's so funny, and he tells it well and everything. But and then I had another question that came out, from my interest in movies. Standout acting performance in a TV show or movie. And there's lots of comedians who are regularly in TV shows and movies, but I don't know if you guys have seen Old Dads with Bill Burr recently.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that shit was really funny.
I gotta watch it. Netflix, right?
Yeah.
I gotta watch
Amazon
that.
Prime, one of those damn streaming services.
Yeah. Jack Black always makes me laugh in just about everything.
So when I asked you those questions, and you've referenced these comedians already throughout this conversation, you said Chris Rock. And anytime I have an opportunity to make either you or I look like a black guy, I'm going to do that. You can.
I'm so. Thank you for sort of blackfacing me a little, I guess, maybe.
A little bit. I mean, I put your face on Louis C.K. and it's like, how can you even tell?
Oh my God, I can barely.
I tell the difference. You're both ginger, no tea, whatever. Like, so then I decided to have a lot of fun.
I look like a ginger George Costanza. Oh,
Ginger George, I like that.
Yeah.
But I had to put your face on Andrew Dice Clay, and I didn't want to do it with today's physique and bod and appearance. It was more fun to do it from the Adventures of Ford Fairlane, and also black and white, because otherwise you would look like a ginger kind of. But
oh man, if I wanted that hair my entire life.
Yeah, that hair I might actually be able to pull off. It's just the really long hair and the ponytails. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I have too much Jufro going on, and he's got a little Jufro going on too.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, anything higher than this, it just curls. Oh, I go straight Jufro. So it's like that's the hair I've always wanted.
I definitely don't have this Bart Simpson spiky type of hair. It's more Jufro.
No. Wanted that too for a minute.
Coming up next week, I was thinking about doing a fun start to the weekend of Cinco de Mayo. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's actually the Russian Orthodox Easter. I got that from the Sauna Banya thing that I go to, and Cinco de Mayo all in one weekend. So plenty of Russian and Mexican heritage to celebrate next weekend. But we'll see what I come up with. Maybe I'll have a fun guest who can speak some Spanish come and hang out with me. But John Moses, awesome to see you once again. I will see you this evening.
Good chat as always, man. Thanks so much, dude.
It's what we do. Thank you for showing up. I know you lost a bet and had to come back on the show, so that's very well appreciated. I got it.
It happens. One day I'll have a manager and you'll never get me again.
I'll take that bet right now. We'll see you again this evening for your night of comedy at the Red Bank Elks Club. $20, 8 p.m. You got your friends Kevin and Ken there as well. Everybody,
it's gonna be fun.
Square.
All right, see you, brother.
I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on Always Friday. We hope you got some weekend insight to make a Monday impact. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, I got to run, bro.